Welcome to Guys, a video series talking about different types of baseball guys. In this episode, we're talking about glasses guys, a type of guy that has severely diminished in recent decades due to the ubiquity of LASIK surgery and sports glasses. I think this goes back to Chris Sabo, who was the first I remember to wear a more sports goggle style of spectacles. Now, that's all there is in the majors, outside of name guy J.D. Hammer, who is the only guy out there innovating, glasses-wise. Unfortunately, he's not very good. Okay, first off, my manager has to be Tom Kelly. Seen here rocking the Walter Sobchak orange tint glasses. Catcher, Darrell Porter. Darrell Porter wore a series of big boxy blinkers behind the plate in the 70s and 80s. I was not previously aware of his Vuko-stash aesthetic for the mid-70s Brewers, though. Porter was an excellent hitting catcher who put up one of the best catcher seasons of all time in 1979 for the Royals, slashing .291, .421, .484, and compiling 7.6 WAR. Sadly, Porter struggled with addiction that began during his baseball career, and in 2002, at age 50, Porter's heart stopped while under the influence of cocaine. But this isn't trying to be a bum-out video, so let's not dwell on that, and instead, look at this guy. We've got a great backup catcher here and a ready-made platoon partner for Porter in Brian Downing, who in the 70s combined a Little Lord Fauntleroy hairstyle with corrective aviator sunglasses. Epic. Later on, he'd go for more of a Sobchak look, and he actually played more outfield than catcher in his career, but early on he was a pretty legit defensive catcher with a very good bat. First base, Andre Thornton. Thornton had some great glasses looks in his career. I'm partial to his boxy early 80s looks, but I also like his mid-80s tinted style too. Thornton was a solid slugger in the late 70s, early 80s, but he was a terrific hitter against lefties, slashing .275, .388, .475 against southpaws. So if we can pair him with a left-handed platoon partner like, say...
My baseball people love Ken Phelps' bat. They kept saying, Ken Phelps, Ken Phelps.
Phelps has that kind of goofy 80s dad vibe, and he could mash right-handed pitching. He put up some batting lines that surprised me. I didn't remember Phelps being all that good, but he slugged and on-based very consistently in his career, putting up a .374 on base and .480 slugging percentage. I was probably fooled by his weak .239 batting average and the fact that Phelps couldn't hit lefty pitching worth a lick, so he was generally platooned with somebody, like I'm doing here. Second base, Cookie Rojas. Cookie Rojas was rocking these translucent, thick frames since the early 60s and stuck with them all the way through his best years in the 70s with Kansas City. Third base, I already talked about Rance Mulliniks in the Name Guys episode, and he'd be an excellent choice here as well, but I gotta go with Sabo. As much as he paved the way for the boring, ultra-refined, goggle-style glasses we have today, he was a true original when he first did it. Shortstop, Len Sakata. Len Sakata was the first ever Japanese-American to play in the big leagues. He wasn't a great player, but he was an excellent fielder who played mostly at second, but also played plenty of short, and had a perfect 80s glasses and hairstyle combination. Left field, Ron Kittle. Kittle wasn't a very good player. He was pretty bad defensively, and he was a free swinger who hit just enough homers to hang on in the majors for 10 years. But no baseball player ever rocked the Jeffrey Dahmer glasses like Kittle did. Center field, Dom DiMaggio. Dubbed the Little Professor for his round Trotsky-esque spectacles, Dom was obviously overshadowed by his big brother, but was an excellent player in his own right, playing good center field defense and being an on-base machine with some doubles power for the Red Sox. Right field, Reggie Jackson. Reggie had one of the coolest glasses looks ever, with his iconic 70s aviator-style specs. DH, Frank Howard. This guy was a glasses god, a 6'7" behemoth with a powerful bat and a powerful prescription. He was a pretty incredible 3 true outcomes type of hitter who was a liability on the field, so he fits in perfectly as a DH. In the year of the pitcher, 1968, Howard was the only dude able to put up more than 40 long balls. What a legend. Third base, first base, and outfield, Dick Allen. Okay, Dick Allen is going to make his way into the starting lineup at one of these 3 positions. Allen's big wire frames with his lamb chop sideburns make for an iconic 70s look. Infield, Tim Foley. Foley gives me a solid fielding utility guy who didn't hit much, but his late 70s Pittsburgh look with the dorky glasses, mustache, and pillbox Pirates hat provided inspiration for many a future irony-poisoned hipster. Utility man, John Lowenstein. This guy rules. The wild hair, the 70s porn stash, the big glasses that appear to have a slight tint of Orioles orange to them. Every photo of this guy has a totally insane energy to it. He wasn't a great player, but had a pretty solid bat against righties and put up a 24-homer year in a partial 1982 season. And he can play everywhere but shortstop and catcher. Starting rotation: Denny McLain, wearing some classic brow-line glasses and giving off a real Lane Price from Mad Men vibe here. Denny McLain was the last man to win 30 games back in 1968. The second most famous degenerate gambler in baseball history, McLain's career suffered from his betting exploits. In '67, he was forced to sit out a key game in the stretch run due to 2 of his toes being crushed by a thug trying to collect on a bet. In his post-baseball career, McLain would be imprisoned for drug trafficking, embezzlement, and racketeering. But for a brief period, he ruled the world, winning 30 games and recording an album of organ music. Scott Gereltz. So my number 2 starter is really going to clash with my ace. Gereltz was part of the Giants' God Squad in the late 80s, who held Bible study sessions in their hotel rooms while on the road. Gereltz put up one hell of a year in 1989, though, and he did so while wearing some great 80s mom glasses. Number 3, Paul Splittorff. Split joins Ron Kittle in the Dahmer-esque glasses category, although I'd say he's got more of a German goon from Die Hard vibe. Splittorff wore this style of glasses to the hilt and was a consistent mid-rotation innings eater for 15 years in Kansas City. 4, Dick Hughes. This guy has the quintessential 1960s look with those brow-line glasses. He had one tremendous year in 1967, but his career was cut short by a rotator cuff injury. I'm going with an old-school 4-man rotation here since I've got a couple of guys who can put up serious innings in McLain and Splittorff. And I've got this guy racking up innings in the pen while wearing the glasses of the Nazi and Raiders of the Lost Ark, Jim Konstanty. He was the first reliever ever to win the MVP. This was prior to the save statistic and prior to the branding of relievers as closers or firemen. Dude pitched 152 innings in 74 relief appearances and posted 4.7 WAR. Ryan Duran. Then I've got another old school guy in Ryan Duran, a dude who looked like an absolute psycho. I'm sure he was a nice guy, but goddamn, he looks frightening with those tinted Coke bottle glasses. Duran threw harder than anyone in the league and was legally blind in one eye with poor depth perception and an extreme sensitivity to light. He was so wild he allegedly hit a batter standing in the on-deck circle. But he was effectively wild, putting up a couple of tremendous seasons for the Yankees. Oh, and by the way, his actual given name was Reinhold? Sure. Next, we have a holy trinity of basically the coolest looking dudes to ever toe the slab in the 9th inning of a baseball game. Tom Henke, Kent Tekulve, and Tom Hume. Let's just appreciate these guys for a moment. We'll round out the bullpen with Ron Davis, who in these baseball cards looks like somebody who has seen some shit. As it turns out, he had. During the 1981 players' strike, Davis took a job working as a waiter at the Hyatt Regency in Kansas City when 2 walkways famously collapsed, killing 114 people. The 3rd deadliest structural collapse in U.S. history, and Davis helped in the rescue efforts. But again, not trying to be a bum-out video, so we'll end with a wacky one. Charlie Kerfeld, a lovable goofball who is perhaps the only Major League Baseball player with an antics section on his Wikipedia page. Dude loved doing some goofs. Thanks for watching, and let us know in the comments who some of your favorite glasses guys are that we missed.